I used to go on those kids where like how to do a mind and I was that type of a child. Two, then I started to be active in sport. School, and by the time just before I left town, I remember like I was the number one goalkeeper. Yeah, I wanted to be a civil engineer. I was fascinated by construction, making something out of nothing. And I always say, work ethic is work ethic. If you are a hard-working person, you are a hard-working person, irrespective of your circumstances, and people can actually see it. So she knew that I was a hard worker. At the same time, she knew what I was also going through.
On that shit that I play, making interest like Y2J, nigga, I'll cold break you like 2K. Tank on my side as he light up a spliff. Jordan's on my whip, nigga.
We go. Hey, hello, what's passing? Guys, we back again. Hello, it's Vista and Friends show, and guys, today I've got a special guest. Today I got another doctor. Hello, Kimani. So nigga bona maswana barona. Today it's really Dr. Vuyisile Thibane. Let me read this bio. Dr. Thibane is a lecturer in the Department of Biochemistry and Biotechnology at the Sefako Makgatho Science University. He has 27 publications to his name with 19,375 reads and 453 citations. Dr. Thibane's interest is mainly on natural products, research specifically looking at the use of South African indigenous plants for their medicinal and nutraceutical potential. Excellent. But apart from this, he is also a family man, a friend, an uncle, a guy from Botshabelo, someone who's prominent. Guys, to be at this position here, this show, we are honored to sit down and have conversations with people who actually surpassed Kasi, who are doing great things in their professions. It's a privilege. Honala. You are here.
It's been a while.
Yes, we tried to schedule him for 2 times, so three times is a charm.
Yeah,
so 3 times is a charm. And as before Canada, Bamela, share, subscribe, like, and comment on this EP because it's gonna be explosive. We're gonna learn a lot, we're gonna learn a lot about biotechnical chemistry and his interest in natural stuff. Particularly. So for him, for for someone who doesn't know who Dr. Thibane is, where was Dr. Thibane born?
Okay. No, thank you, Dr. Mujula, and also thanks to the ever-growing number of subscribers on your channel. I mean, I prefer to be called Vuyisile.
And the stripes.
Yeah. So, born and bred, Kukasi, and Kasi is the only thing that I know. I mean, I didn't go to any model C schools like they used to be called.
Yeah, model E.
I did my primary school in Tabo, and from Tabo, I went to Seemahale, class of 2005. The class I was 100%. Seemahale. Yeah, and from there I started to go to University of the Free State for my undergraduate degree in biotechnology, and then from there, the rest is
history.
It's history, like they say, and then we'll try to unpack some of that.
Let's take it back, back to your childhood.
Yeah, so Unkun, Kilasbo, and those who know me, but on my
Nigmamezi guys, I don't care.
And I come from a family of 3. So it's 3 boys and raised by a single mother. So I'm the youngest. And I mean, we were raised without a father figure in our life. But I always say I am very proud of my mother, especially if you look at the type of people that we end up being. You know, very respectful, down to earth, humble. You know, never been to jail. Never been to always try to do good by everyone, because I mean that's the principle that she believed in paying it forward. You know, like whatever good that you do for someone today, don't expect the returns now. You know, like your child or your grandchild might be the one that actually benefits from the goodness that you've done.
So while growing up, if you can take us to your primary Hanyan, primary, because you are an academic now. Academic and primary, how are you?
So primary school, I remember 1993.
That's like a fair.
You know, I always say I remember 1993. Because that tower before it was built, and I remember the Mashatare who was it I was a very naughty child. Like, contrary to the person that I ended up being, I was a very naughty child. That doesn't make someone real. I used to be one of those kids where they were like, how to do a man, cut say stuff, you know. And I was that type of a child, and I think grade 1, I passed. And I failed grade 2. Grade 2 is gonna be
standard.
You know, I think that time when life sort of kind of gave me a wake up call, you know. And then from there, then started really academically, started to pay attention in class, doing homeworks, you know. And by the time when I started hitting standard 2, then I started to be active in sport, you know. And by the time, just before I left town, I remember like I was the #1 goalkeeper. Yeah, Tower Primary.
So
yeah,
yes.
Under 13 and under 15. Under 15.
What was the name?
Okay, so it's a funny one because when I was young, they used to call me Mapaza. You know, like Paza is somebody who passes people. But mind you, back then I was a goalkeeper. So how the name came about was when I was a goalkeeper. I would do this great saves. Then after doing a save, I think maybe it's adrenaline or whatever. Then I'll take the ball and I'll give it back to the opponent. It's like you're saying, I like it. And then I'll save it. So that's how actually the name came about. Like there used to be this like lots and lots of adrenaline. So they used to call me Mapaza. And I know my neighbors still call me Mapaza even today. Even though I don't play soccer. Yeah. And then from there, I was good in maths. I was really, really good in maths. Like, it's something that I just fell in love with. And easily, so when I got to high school, I easily migrated to the sciences. And I think when I got to high school and I stopped these things up because like I was now starting to become like a bookworm, they used to say. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that I was a student that every day 90%, 100%. No. I was just an average student, always hardworking, always in the top 3 in class.
I'm already top 3, but you say top 3, what am I ready?
Yeah. I mean, back then, like a good friend of mine, especially when we talk maths, Zakelo Fima, he was number one in class, and then followed by Mojane Foxquay, he was number 2 and I was number 3. You know, so you knew your place, and you know. When you realize that okay, these people they're actually good in this thing, then easily so we started moving towards each other, and we started becoming friends. And I mean, like I said, the 2005 class was, I mean, what we did was something that was really good, especially in the history of Seemahale. And there was only 2 of us in class. Mamokgethi and Zakel, who were doing mathematics in high grade.
Yes. Plus back then, maths was this car.
Maths was maths.
Yes, that's this car.
So yeah, back then like, maths was maths, and I remember like our teacher at the square, because we used to combine the science and the accounting class. So you only have one class, so you know, and so such things like at a very young age, then you start really, I think like it's hard work, because we always say maths it's a practicing subject. You know, you just need to, the only way to get it, you practice. Yeah, and I think from there, this thing of working hard then just started from there.
And then here you are, high school, you're becoming this brilliant guy in maths and talk. How's the support structure in terms of tackling Olewidi and your brothers?
Yeah, I always say my eldest brother, Comfort, he was my inspiration, because that guy was good. And he was also good in mathematics. So remember that back then, maths was maths.
It was maths or OBC, OBS, something OBE. Come on.
Hey, this car. So like, he was my inspiration, because he had all of these books. Like, he had all of these books. They will give you a problem, and at the end they will give you a solution, you know. And then he also had all of these books, more and more, like he would do his problems. And you can actually even follow it. Okay, this guy is trying to solve this specific theorem, and okay, he didn't get it here, and then he corrects it, you know. So in terms of academics, like he was my guy. Then my colleague, my other brother, like Yana, he was my protector. Because remember, it's not just about school, it's also about the streets, you know. So, go high, yeah, well,
yeah.
Another thing, you understand?
Yeah, well,
you know, and as you're playing, I never got bullied, you know, because in that thing, hey, wait till I get on my new.
No.
Wait till I get on my new. You know, so like I never got bullied, because I mean I had him as a protector, like when we were out there. And in terms of like academics, I had my eldest brother, and then my mother was a genius. And she loved school. Like she was forever pushing us for like school. So because my mother was a domestic worker, working go. So anything that related to Africans, I knew I would go to my mother. I was like, damn. English, I'll go to my mother. Mom, that time I'm in high school. Yes. My mother is old, you know. But because for her, I have to go Spanish. I mean, English, Africans, something that
she talks. We were regular.
So in terms of like support structure, go higher. Like I had a very supportive family, and the one thing that I didn't mention is growing up. I grew up with my cousin Kosaza. to me, like she's my cousin, but she's more like my sister, because I said to her in LA
3 months, yeah.
but
she's the sister in
she's
the
a sister in our head.
But
so,
you had.
she stayed with us since she was like young, since like when we were doing grade 1, and then she stayed throughout.
Basically, she was your sister.
So she is my sister.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
she is my sister, and like we so even though you're not the accounting and now can do the science here, but in terms of when it's time to study, you know, like in the house, you already have somebody that you can study with. If it's English, we're having the same thing. If it's social, we're having the same thing. The only difference will just be that, you know, she's doing the commerce side and I'm also doing the science side. And I mean, I come from a family that really appreciates education, and it became easier for me to also, you know, like want to make them proud.
Because I want to ask this, at the time that you were in Botshabelo to Kasi, at those times, my 27 and nights affair, there were gangs. Did that really affect you, Kapo, when your brothers, because of the protection? I never actually saw the life of gang by any member, one of those things, or some of your brothers who were part of that.
So I come from a family, it's a Christian family. So we were raised in church. You know, look, so we were raised in church, and I never got to experience any of the gangs and the violence, and like you said, you remember saying the life like I was never part of that, because for me it was either during the week it's school, then Saturday we go to church, we practice, Sunday it's church, then after that back then we used to have this thing that the church that I was going, it's Apostolic Faith Mission at on Sundays we would just decide, today we are visiting the titulars. So the titulars will cook, and then after church then everybody will come. So by so doing, like you have this safe space where you are always in, and then everything that's happening around you like doesn't really get to affect you, you know. And I'm very thankful to my mother, because like she insisted on, you know, go to church.
Yeah.
And that on its own also builded the type of person that I end up being, because I'm you know. And I mean, I also believe in the contribution that the church played in me being the person that I am. I mean, through their prayers, you know, like I mean, prayer breaks any barrier or any stronghold that might be holding you. You know, if you have more than 50 people praying for you, you know, during exams, the pastor will call all of us, and then we'll stand there and then we pray. The whole church is praying for you. So, I mean, those are the things that really contributed to my upbringing and really shielding me from all of these things to the later cards.
Yeah, because Botshabelo was life in terms of crime. Now here you are, 2005. Shit. Class of 2005, you break the boundaries.
Yeah.
It's time to make decisions in terms of university. What's happening, you kind of would say. And at that time, how we were you also going through the natural things, or what was happening?
No, not really. I always say, because like now I am in a position of standing in front of students and, you know, being a lecturer, and I say lack of information, it's the one thing that is holding our people back, you know. So when I was doing matric, I only applied 4 years, and if you ask me why, the answer would be I wanted to go to university.
Yeah.
But if you look at we have Central University of Technology, which is more of a technical school, in some of the subjects, you know. And a person will say, oh, I'm not going to see it, but we also need to look at the person, you know, like, are you
that material
or this one?
This one.
So back then, nobody told us.
So what you say back then, these career expos, it's not something that you guys were exposed to so often. It's all about one.
No, I don't remember going to a career expo.
Yes.
I don't remember going to a career expo because I'll tell you what, when I applied for UFS, so I was never into this thing of biology and, you know, medicine. I wanted to be a civil engineer. You know, I was fascinated by construction, you know, making something out of nothing. So when I first applied for UFS, I applied to do quantity surveying, you know. And I could have applied for CET to be a civil engineer, but I didn't want to go to CET. I wanted to go to UFS. But the thing that I wanted to do at UFS was at CET. So I remember, so I get there, it's registration. They look at my application. First choice quantity surveying. Then the question is, did you come for selection? Selection? Yeah, no, for you to be able to enroll into this course, you need to write a test. There's a test that you write, there's a selection test, and there's also a proficiency test in English that you also need to do.
None of those.
No, this is new to me.
Yeah.
And I remember the lady giving me the prospectus, standing in line, and my mother was next to me. Here's a prospectus. Look for something.
That's nice.
I'm on a queue to hold the prospectus, and now I'm reading. So the decision to enroll for biotechnology was based on
the moment.
So I read it.
Wow.
And it said technology. This sounds interesting.
Damn.
And I remember there was microbiology, there was biochemistry, there was agricultural sciences, there was biotechnology. I was like, nope, this one sounds nice. This one, you know, it sounds nice. Then that's how I initially enrolled for the degree.
So literally for you to be here, that's how the decision came. Damn it!
And if you look at biotechnology as a discipline and you compare it to civil engineering, they are miles apart. And I don't regret the decision, and I don't regret that decision. And in 2006, I was the first year for UFS, and first time at university, you think that you are.
I can remember A students from top 3. So you are here now.
And I remember the first test failed dismally. And in a day, it was a physics test. First test that I took was a physics test. Because most of the time, first years, you sort of kind of like redo some of the modules that you were doing in matric. And then you're like, what have I gotten myself into?
Because yours was not a popular place to be at the time.
It wasn't. It wasn't. When I was doing my undergraduate degree, I was staying at home. Yeah? So I was traveling from Kasi to Bloom.
That's us.
You know? And the reason for that was simply because, I didn't have bursary. My mother simply said that I don't have money to pay for accommodation. So I stayed for her. I never started that trade because my family is short of in terms of you moving from point A to point B, then you're able to do that. 3 years later, I finished the degree. I did my first degree in record time.
In record time? Damn, because mostly during those times they would tell you the only a coffee knows it.
Yeah.
And in his car, remember those were the times when Bloemfontein was here, Makufe was spoken, Bloemfontein was busy. So during that 3 years, like you say, you know, the family structure, the support was there. You individually, did you ever find yourself with you know, Menaki, Kina, capture, and frenzy, and all of these other factors they affect them? Basically, the first degrees, undergraduate degrees.
So, I either when I mentioned church, and now I strongly believe that if it wasn't because of church, you know, Willows was Willows. Fridays,
Small sleep,
small sleep was small sleep.
Clubhouse was Clubhouse.
Clubhouse was Clubhouse. But at the same time, Friday fasting.
Equal.
Yeah. So after church, after school, we're going to church because like for the next 3 days we're going to be fasting. It's fasting and prayer, you know. And there's one thing that in my initial stages of going to the university, in the morning, I used to take the 5:45 bus. It's dark, and you can see chimneys, smoke coming out. You know, it's cold. Back then, we used to stay in, you know, like those government built houses, and that was my background. You know, that was my background. That's what I was moving out of. And 2 hours later, I'll be in blue. And if you check where the university is situated, if you take, whether you're taking the Grand Park bus or that other bus that will travel there's this nice melody of birds singing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then like now you're in the suburbs, you know? So for me, every day that was my reality. And my background was pushing me to ensure that, okay, on a daily basis, go to school. I never missed classes.
Damn, bro.
Unless I was sick.
You were disciplined.
No, I would never miss a class just because.
I feel your class, not for me,
No. Because for me, the drive was I need to move out of this, you know? And I want to move into an environment where in the morning I hear birds sing.
Which means you understood the sacrifice for your mother and your brothers were putting in so that you can actually over say, Ulumamela those parents.
Yeah. And like I said, my mother, like she instilled this thing of paying it forward, you know? Or everything, the sacrifices that you are making right now, we might not maybe benefit from them, but I mean, our kids might be the one who would wake up to the birds singing in the morning, you know. And right now, when I talk to my students, because now I have students, and I always say to them, like, your background should be enough to push you to do your work. Because I'll say, okay guys, it's Friday, Monday we have a test, and the work doesn't be like, what's there? And I'm like, what? No, the weekend. So? So, no, it's just another day. And, no, but so and so. And I'll say, what about your family? Because I know that your family, they've sent you into this environment, you know, for you to change, you know, like transform your life, you know. We talk of transformation. The work that you do, if it's unable to transform you, at least you should be able to transport your immediate family or your extended families, you know. So that was the discipline. I mean, within 3 years, I had finished all my degrees and I passed. The only time I failed during the first semester. And from there, I saw like, I need to up my game. If you go to UFS 7th floor library, that was your place. That was my place.
So those 3 years, there's no
it's obvious. It's obvious.
Yeah.
No, it's obvious that you would take the bus together, go to Bloom,
share ice cream.
After school, okay, we go to Central Park, take the same bus, coming back. So I mean, it was there.
That was the best. So here you finish your first 3 years in record time with a postgrad, the same discipline that went into those, air to that one, transferred.
So 2009, academically was, when I was doing my honors, it was the most difficult year of my life, of my academic life. Because in 2009, my mother gets diagnosed with cancer, and she has to go for chemotherapy. So if you look at the setup here, UFS, it's UFS, and next to UFS, it's Investors, the hospital. So she's in Investors. For me, moving from the university to Investors is just a walk, 30 minutes walk, So every time, because like that whole chemo process, it took a long time. But I remember it sort of kind of crossed. It started between sometime in June until towards the end of the year. It was long. I remember September she was still there, and it was very difficult to concentrate in class, especially if in the morning I'll go to class, then during lunch I'll go and see her. And for people who've seen someone receiving chemotherapy and radiation therapy, those people are in pain. They're in pain.
That we only read them, we only can hear from your stories. We've never actually seen and been in a situation.
Especially if it's somebody that you love. Because I love my mother, and I say love in past tense because she passed away. I love my mother very much, and seeing her. And after that, I'll go back. And going back, open a book and try to read, and then
nothing goes in, nothing comes out.
Yeah. And tomorrow you repeat the same process. You go and you see it. Because if you take a day or two without seeing her, day three when you get there, she's feeling, because remember at the same time, when someone says to you you have cancer, it feels like it's it feels like it's over for you, and those people are scared. Those people are scared, and then with time, that became my yoke. In the morning class, afternoon see her, come back, heavy burdened, and tomorrow reading the same cycle over and over again. To a point where I failed. I always say I failed. There's one module that I failed, second semester. And remember, honors is 1 year. And if you fail, then it means you have to come back.
Yes.
So when I was doing my honors, I had initially started working in the lab when I was doing my third year. So when I was doing my third year, I was already working in the biotech lab with my then supervisor, Prof. Paul, Paul. And I always say, work ethic is work ethic. If you are a hardworking person, you're a hardworking person, irrespective of your circumstances, and people can actually see that. So she knew that I was a hard worker. At the same time, she knew what I was also going through. That woman gave me a second chance. I would say a second chance in academia, because in academia they say you need an average of 60% to be able to go for a master's degree. Yeah. For my honors degree, I didn't get 60%. My average was less than 60%.
Damn it.
I failed. I think I had 2 special exams. I had a special exam in June. I also had a special exam in December. And she gave me said go to motivation. I was like, no, even though he has less than 60%, I am choosing to take him for
special.
Yeah, for a master's degree. Because eventually I passed. Eventually I passed with a Robert Ray, but eventually I passed, you know. And I always say 2009 has a very huge influence on the decisions that I'm making now in my position now as a supervisor. Because like now I'm a supervisor.
Yeah, you are able to see what you went through these other guys. Wow.
You know, so I mean, then I came back. I think 2010 when I was doing my first year MSc. My mother was out of hospital and she was constantly going for checkups, and so the cancer was gone, you know, and she was now back to her usual self, and now I'm going back to my usual self. And I came back with a bang because when I was doing my honors, I started staying on campus. So when I was doing my masters, now I'm staying on campus. I was sleeping in the lab. I was literally sleeping in the lab.
Which means this thing is real, of kids sleeping in libraries. It's real, it's not a fake chase.
Because here's the thing, discipline. You are doing an experiment, and the experiment is a 20-hour experiment. Data is based on accuracy.
Then you have to be there.
You have to be there.
You can't say,
I'll when you come back tomorrow, whatever that you intended to see, you're not going to see it because you missed the time when you were supposed to be taking, if it's a reading, time when you're supposed to be taking a reading, you know? And within a year, I finished my project.
Which means you completed your master's also in record time.
I completed my master's in record time. Because I did my master's for a year and 11 months. By the 11th month, I actually got a job and I left. I was done with experiments in terms of like my dissertation. I had already written majority of my dissertation. Hence, I'm saying when you are given a second chance, a lot of people don't waste second chances, and I want to believe that, like, I mean, in terms of like the second chances that I was given in the academy, I never wasted them, you know. And yeah, then 2011 I was born, you know. Yes. At the end of 2011 I was born.
You were a master student, graduated from yours, one of and in a sector for I'd like to believe not a lot of like young black people are in that field. So today as a lecture, when you see that gap in do you think where's the problem coming from? Why are we not as young black people getting into those spaces?
It's simple, our background, you know, because look at it, for you to be a professor in the sciences, you need to spend a lot of time at university. But our background does not allow us to stay longer at university. I could have, when I finished my master's, I already had a bursary to come back for a PhD, but I didn't. Because at the time, like, I was the first person in my family to ever get a degree. On even like masters. Now you need to start paying them back, you know. You need to start, I'm still staying in a 3-room house that my mother got like many years ago. So now you are forced to go and work. So that's one of the reasons why back then we didn't see a lot of black professionals within the sciences. Hence, even like right now, if you look at like, a lot of policies at university level, they're all on transformation. Trying to get the young black girl, you know, into the space, to take up the space, because majority of the space has been taken up by white people, you know, and at least now, if you start looking at the numbers, I mean,
that's changing.
There's a shift now. You know, there's a shift in terms of like having black professionals within the sciences. We always encourage our kids to go and do STEM. You know, and the other discouraging factor is the fact that science and
yes, a lot of people think science is mad because the most feeling encouraged from high school level to do science subject. So if you say
but remember that maybe in comparison to your engineering courses and stuff, it requires passion. It requires passion, you know. If you go into it because you want to be rich, you will not be rich. But if you go into it because you have a purpose, you know, life purpose that you want to achieve, then you'll be fulfilled, you know. I say right now, if I were to be asked, do you want $1 million a month or to continue doing what you're doing? For me, the decision is very easy. I want to continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I have to understand that, because if you get $1 million, tomorrow you still wake up, $1 million is there, but the purpose is not there. So what's the point?
Exactly. So remember that within the sciences there are also a lot of different fields within the sciences. So within the natural sciences, you know, because there's also quite limitation in terms of like where are you going to be working. Majority is for multinational companies, and multinational companies, as much as like they are made in South Africa, but they have their own
way of
doing things.
Yeah.
You know, they just have their own way of doing things. And even like academia is not enough to absorb everyone.
Yeah.
You know? So at the same time, there will be frustrations here and there. People will be frustrated, but once you locate the purpose within that frustration, then you are good to go. And for me, I think like I want to believe that I've located my purpose. And when you talk of the current work that I do right now, then you realize that it is because of everything that I've went through in my life, you know. The work that I do, it's so that other people don't have to go through what I went through, you know. I have projects that look on cancer. I know the pain of seeing a loved one
going through
the same thing. So if I can come up with a solution for a household, you know, I would have saved them from like a lot of misery. You know, my mother passed away because of diabetes. You know, like right now I have projects where we are looking at using natural products and plants to try and come up with solutions in able to fight or treat diabetes. I know the pain when you go to a hospital and then they say that your mother's arteries, they are clogged, you know, and now I know why they're clogged.
Now you understand.
Now I understand. And somebody saying, oh, like, you know, like your mother's situation where she is right now, it's a bit late, you know, because there's not really much that you can do. You know, when somebody gets to a point where even the injection, the insulin injection is not working, then you know, like,
it's beyond the cover. Here you are, masters you complete. Now the thought that comes into saying, you know what, I'm going for PhD. What happens? Who pushes you there? Or when I'm thinking that here's a problem, I want to fix things.
My guy, you know, the decision to pursue a PhD. Remember I said in 2011 when I finished my master's,
you were offered.
I was offered, but I didn't take it. So in 2012, in fact in 2011 I get offered a position for the SAPS. So I go and I'm an officer. I'm working in the DNA division of the SAPS. Like these guys that are responsible for isolation of DNA, especially for cases and whatnot. Then I'm there, you know. At least each job.
Job.
Within a couple of months of being there, the South African breweries come knocking, like we have a job opportunity for you. Yes. Okay, then I was like, I remember looking at the packages. yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and it's SAE. It's SAE.
Yeah, and back then, I mean, this is South African rules.
And it's yes, it's SAE.
Yeah, it's big, it's huge. So, 2012, I leave. I get offered a job in Devon. I'm based in Devon now. I'm working for the South African rules as a management trainee. And that's middle management, you know. When we got there, I think even our government, they were also trying to address this lack of black people within management office, even within the private sector. So a lot of black trainees were hired to try and address that. So, first car.
Certainly,
Beachfront apartment, first car, I'm staying alone, far away from home. And then you forget your mother's teachings, eh? You forget your
certainly,
and started experimenting. Now, sing your cruising.
Yes.
You know, now I'm doing.
You afford now affordability.
Yeah. And there's this thing that when you're within people that know you and people that know your background, when you start to derail, they are quickly to call you back. Okay? But when you're amongst strangers, people who don't know you, people who don't know your story, people who don't know your background, to them, when you start doing things like they don't know, you know, and things got out of hand. Things got out of hand. To a point where I started slacking in my job. Because remember now, this is not school.
It's not school, it's a job.
Yeah, it's a job, you know, and I started slacking in my job. And for those that have worked in manufacturing, it's an industry that is pushed by numbers. There's no PT, you know, there's no
one productivity.
Because I mean, it's a profit-driven environment, and it was tough. It was tough. Like I said, I mean, I lost it, and for the first time in my life, I failed. For the first time in my life, I failed my traineeship. So I failed. And there is something that loss has. In fact, not loss, failure. There is something that is very spiritual about failure. Because a lot of people, when they encounter failure, you have two options. Either you stay there, or you rise
and then you move forward.
You know? So I could have chosen to stay within that space of failure, you know. But I decided to
that's a wake up call.
And for the first time in my life, now I'm going through a process of depression. Because there's this thing of abantu bazothini.
Yeah, what to
you know, 2014 was one of my toughest years from a mental and like you I'd had 2009 was painful emotionally. It was a tough year emotionally. But 2014 was a painful year mental. And you know the things of depression, which is why we need to openly talk about them. To say that it's not a death sentence. It's something that you can go through it and you can actually overcome it. You know, I remember being on depression medication, the treatment for close to 6 months, and sometimes like this medication is not even working. You start to feel worse and worse and worse, and you even start having suicidal thoughts.
Hey.
You know,
it was tough.
yeah, because you're used to winning.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
And here, it's at a grand scale.
Yeah. You're all alone, Gada. You are.
You're part of middle management at work. In a manufacturing, this is manufacturing, in an industrial industry. And when you start failing, your failures, like, they are evident for everybody to see. You know, and then people look at your accolades. This guy has a master's, so why is he?
What's happening?
You know, and I remember when everything started to overwhelm me, and I remember making a call to my mom and I said, "I'm coming home. I'm going to resign. I'm going to leave this thing. You know, I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to come home and rebuild it." And I came home, stayed home for like about 5 months or so, just trying to
rebuild yourself.
Rebuild myself. And 2015, I decided, like, you know what, I'm going back to school. You know, there's a dream that I haven't fulfilled, and I'm going to go back and fulfill my dream. So that decision was, I was not making the decision because at the time I was being driven by purpose. At the time I didn't have a purpose. You know, I just wanted to get out of this environment, and I go. And I get a dual appointmentship. I'm studying with the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm also working for the Agricultural Research Council. 3 years done with the PhD. The whole time. Yeah, 3 years done with the project. You know, and within the 3 years, then people start to come back. You know, people start to come back, and 2018, I'm graduating. You know, the family is happy, and you've learned, you know, and after that, I'm able to buy another car, you know, and I built my mother a house, a dream that was it was delayed because had I not lost focus when I was in there. I was getting a lot. I could have built it then, but sometimes we become too hard on ourselves, especially when we make mistakes. You know, we become so hard to ourselves that we forget that as long as this thing
it's still there, it's still pumping.
You have an opportunity to get up, rise up, and you know, whatever that you intended that you want to do, you can do it again.
So when you say the decision to say, "Hey, my lady, you know what? I'm coming back home," plays a major role in terms of when it's hard, home is the best place to return.
True.
Because a lot of people would find there's very same thing you said about the routine when I'm back home. What do you say to someone even for he's faced with that now? Go get anything out test. What are the people gonna say? And he's here. The state levels are here because we live in an era of social standards.
True.
But he's in a situation now, based on because of you went through the journey, you made that call and it went forward. There's someone willing for an issue.
It's important to have a supportive family structure, because that call could have gone either way. If the relations and if the family structure was not there, the support was not there, somebody would have said like, "Hi, Vista, man, stay there." You know, and I could have stayed there, and if I stayed there longer than that, I could have died. You know, and you need to have that sort of support. You know, you might find that because family dynamics are quite different. Other people that they're able to call home or come back home. You know, other people like they have this long relationship with a friend, that a phone call to the friend and the friend will say, "My friend, come and stay with me so that you become better." Some might be relatives, you know, but you should just like with anything has a reset button. You should try to identify where is my reset button, you know, where that environment that if I go into, you know, and then when I come out, you know, energetic and purified once again. Others it's the church. You know, someone might have at some point started going to church and then you derailed and you stopped going to church. Maybe you just go to church. And when you go back to church and then you reestablish that relationship you used to have with God. And, you know, so, but for me, because of the relation that I had with my mother, it was easy for me to call. I remember I called my mother and I called my sister. And I said, I need to come home. You know, and like they really played, and my current partner back then, and they really played a huge role in terms of like, no, it's fine, come back and then we'll support you.
And you use the space to recover mentally. Here you are, you say you recover. There are two things there. Your PhD as well. How does it feel like when that red robe they say they announce in your thesis is a thing?
It's magical. It's magical because remember, this is the highest form of education.
Yeah, you can get.
Yeah, this is the highest form. Like, I mean, there's no other degree
higher than this
one, you know? And now you also start, that's why a lot of people cry. I'm like, cried.
Because
to me, I start reflecting on
this journey.
This journey. You know, I think it took me about 10 years from first degree, maybe not 10 years, more than 10 years. You know, like that, it's long, you know, and you are there and everybody is just, you know, bravo. And you've already published papers and, you know, people are citing your work when people are talking, they say, yeah, Thibane also said, you know, and now it's a good space, you know, you are starting to make contributions to the bigger society, you know, the purpose now starts taking form and starts taking shape, you know. And I remember because I was studying at UKZN, I had to travel with my family, you know, to take them to KZN. So I took my mother, I took my brother, my two brothers, and yeah, we drove to KZN. So before graduation, I was driving a small car. And I looked at my phone. I was like, nah, these people, they won't fit in this car. A week before graduation, and I went to a dealership and I was like, can you give me this SUV? I'm taking my family. So, I mean, like, it's also like you start being a provider. Like, I mean, it starts with coming with provision. And for the first time, after a very long time, I mean, I took my family to Durban, we went to the beach. My aunt was also there, we went to the beach. And, you know, I also had my other uncle and the wife, they all came and they supported me. And I remember walking on the street, on the podium, and my uncle started shouting, like, oh, Seemahale!
Yes.
And, you know, like,
you are the first in the family to achieve the highest form of education.
And he was so proud, he was making noise.
Yeah.
Make noise. When people are here.
Yeah.
And my family was so proud. My mother was in tears. When I was graduating, and even I remember in terms of like her health, she was starting to being a bit weak. But I mean, she made a trip and then she saw me graduating on that stage.
Wow, that was a moment.
Yeah, that was a moment, man. And you know, come back. Then, like I said, that was in 2018. Then 2019 we lost her. A year later, I just graduated. I'm only starting now to work. You know, and we lost her to diabetes, you know, and I remember then I shifted my focus in terms of like my research. My research initially like was around cosmetics, you know, because like I mean, looked if you look at like the number of products that are currently in the market, and how can you better those products and actually like be entrepreneurs. Scientists, because scientists can also
scientists can, yeah.
And that was the dream. If you look at things like push the M, products like push the M. Try coming up with like your own line of cosmetic products, and you know, make make decent money and become a millionaire.
They compete with these other brands because it's not like they don't have natural resources, they're vast.
We have a lot, and it's just a matter of knowing which ones to use and how you can use them. And I remember 2019 when I abandoned that, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to continue with this thing. My projects are not going to be health related, you know, because my mother survived cancer. She had a stroke, survived a stroke, and she was taking my diabetes. And to me, I look at all these three and like, I mean, are we really helpless when it comes to such? And the answer is no, you know. So looking at the type of work that I do right now with my team, it's like now I have a team.
Yeah. Before we're gonna get into the lecturing part of Sefako Makgatho, here you are, your mother passes. What happens to you after you decide, no, the cosmetics route I'm no longer doing it? How do you recover mentally from that loss before you take a decision to say I'm focusing on health?
Well, I mean, even today, I still haven't recovered from the loss of my mother. But I think the pain and, like I said initially, purpose. You know, purpose stepped into my life and say like I need to live a purposeful life. Initially, I said to you, somebody was to say to me, here's $1 million, here's purpose. Back then, I would have taken the $1 million, you know. Hence, I wanted to continue in this line of work, and because like in terms of like revenue, you're able to generate a lot of revenue, and you can, you know, be a millionaire. Like, literally, you can be a millionaire, especially if you have a good product. I mean, there are so many problems that people are having. You can genuinely be a millionaire within a very short space of time. But now I had moved from that. You know, I had moved from that, and I had moved into, like I said, it's purpose driven. You know, I believe in terms of when you talk healthcare, you don't have to wait for things to be worse for a treatment intervention. So treatment interventions need to be start coming earlier, so that you don't get into a disease state, if we were to say that, you know.
Yeah.
So now what you do, you rejuvenate your health, you know. As things look like they are about to get worse, you rejuvenate yourself, and then you go back to your old self. And by so doing, you end up prolonging your lifespan. You end up prolonging your health, you know. Majority of the time, we wait for things to be worse, and then that's when we seek a treatment intervention. Most of the time, a lot of people with cancer, they will only start seeking treatment when it's too late. They will say that, you know, you're already on stage 4 cancer. There's not really much that we can do for you. It's late already. So hence I'm saying, for me, purpose trumps like a lot of things, because if you can prolong a lifespan of so many people, you know, and
you've saved so many lives, you've saved so many families.
You save so many lives and you save so many families, you know. It might not be a financial gain, it's financial gain, but I think in terms of like for your soul.
Yeah, because literally you're saving lives more than financial gains. Here, there's a Sefako Makgatho opportunity. Does it come knocking, or you go there, or what's happening?
So this is what happens. Most of the time, when you finish with your PhD, either you will get an opportunity in industry, within government institutions, or within the education sector, like within universities. I didn't want to go back to
state. Government.
No, not government per se. I didn't want to go back to industry, because remember I was in industry.
I lived it.
Yeah,
I saw it.
I saw it. And I felt like the environment is not good for me. Man. And I tried just with state institutions. You can, I mean, like you have your ARC, which are actually like doing some good work. You have your CSIR doing some good work. You have your MinTech also doing some good work. And like everybody else, you apply. A lot of people don't know Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. It's one of the 26 universities in South Africa. Formerly it used to be called Medunsa. If you say to somebody Medunsa,
then they remember you.
Oh, Medunsa. So back then, Sefako Makgatho Health Medunsa, it used to be a health university, a health sciences university, purely in terms of training health professionals. But with time, the university sort of like branched from being a teaching university to do both teaching and research. Wow. And I think at the time, the department that I'm in, the Department of Biochemistry and Biotechnology, they were establishing a new branch of biotechnology. So remember that I did biotechnology in undergrad, and I also had industrial experience in terms of biotechnology. So then it became a perfect fit, you know, and I joined Sefako Makgatho in 2021, towards the end of 2021. So I've purely just been there for about 2 years now. And it's a new platform, it's a new division. Even today, we're still working on expanding on the division. And now I become a principal investigator. Wow. Now I get to decide what sort of work do I want to do, you know. Now I'm the one who's deciding on my team, who am I going to recruit.
So you're a pioneer.
Not necessarily a pioneer, but remember that you join a oiled machine, and then yours is just to come and be part of it. Be part of it. You can't come and start putting new parts. Just
make it
to be more efficient. I'll say with my inclusion, like the idea was just to come and be part of the team, you know, and at the same time, then I get an opportunity to have my own team. So my research team, we call ourselves Biotechnology. Biotechnology and Healthcare Innovation Research Unit.
That's you know I go to my team.
Yeah. So and it's big. So I have like my team. Like there's about 2 PhD students. There's about 7 MSc students, and I have about 4 honors students. So in total, I think it's about 14 or so. And it's 14 students working on multiple projects.
No.
Because like I said, for me, when Purpose located me, I had so many things that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
I mean, I have projects, like I said, like I have projects dealing with a core of the work that you do deals with the female reproductive system. So you see that a lot of people have cervical cancer. So people are still suffering from cervical cancer. People are still suffering from endometrial cancer. And there's also like things associated with prolonged menstrual disorders. For other people, somebody will say to you like, my periods don't even take 15 days.
Which is an unnatural behavior.
It's an unnatural behavior, but we also have to educate our people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in terms of like your cycle should not even last longer than 7 days. If it lasts longer than 7 days, then that might be a sign that there is an intervention that is required. Remember initially what I said to you, I believe in prolonging
healthcare.
Yeah, you know. So right now, a person would wait until it's very late. Because you find that like, with some people they have a polycystic ovarian syndrome, so like they have cyst in their ovary, and then because of that they struggle to make babies. You know, when I talk to my team and I say to them, there's a lot of households right now where the husband is busy blaming the wife
for
for loss of pregnancy or for their inability to conceive, not knowing that, you know what, there might be an underlying problem, you know. And if you look at the current treatment regimes right now, with some, they will say, I think you have to take your womb out, you know.
Which kills the whole process.
So it kills the whole process. And as I'm saying, then if we put ourselves in a position where we can come up with
solutions, intervention.
When we can come up with interventions, then so many households don't have to go through what they're going through right now. You know, there is someone right now who's saying, "This is my fourth miscarriage." That's not normal.
Yeah, that's not normal.
You know, that's not normal. So we exploit the fact that we have an indigenous knowledge system. Chief, when we were young, we used to eat tape.
Yeah, tape.
It's a tape.
It's a little tape.
You know, we used to eat tape of mankwani, and that's amaranthus. And if you look at amaranthus from a nutritional perspective, like it's one of the most nutritionally rich veg that you can find, you know. But our people, we've moved away from such practices. You know, so we exploit such indigenous knowledge system because we believe that in terms of like our grandparents and great parents, they live a healthy life, they live a long life with few health-related issues. So the question is, what have we done as society to put ourselves in a position where we are in now? Normally back then, cancer, they will say cancer only after 50 you can start worrying about cancer. You have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds being diagnosed with cancer right now. You know, like, I mean, you have a lot of people dying in their 30s because of cancer.
Yeah, because I've seen the lifespan in South Africa has reduced drastically so within the last 30 decades.
Yeah. So we sort of kind of like try to come up with early detection system. So like it's an early detection system where everything leaves a sign, or it leaves a trace. Even if like it's a cancer cell, it leaves a trace that I am here. But if you don't know what to look for, you will not catch it. You know? So if we know the breadcrumbs that are being left behind, then we can put up systems that will look for those breadcrumbs. So that like in your earliest stages, you know, when a specific marker is elevated beyond the normal limit, then we can say, please go and see your health professional because we think that there might be something you know. And the thing about, let's talk about cancer. Cancer is just a mess of cells just growing uncontrollably so. If you can locate the mess and then you remove it, you save the life. You know, it's gone. The problem is if the mess is all over the body. Here, you know, and then other people with colon cancer, some of them will say that, okay, I think we need to chop your intestines. And somebody thinks like, oh, no, where you chop your intestines.
I can imagine.
You know, and we also have projects where we look at how our lifestyle affects our weight gain and what are the diseases that are linked to us gaining weight, you know, and what sort of, then the intervention would be what sort of plant can you consume to delay the weight gain process.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Which means you and your team high.
Yeah. I know. No, we are working, and like I think I'm fortunate enough to have a team of young, brilliant minds eager to solve
these problems.
Because when I recruited them, I sat them down and I said to them, this is where Purpose has pushed me. I am here, and these are the solutions that I want. You know, how can we work together in achieving this. I mean, there are two projects that we are starting now, like that they are of interest to me because they fascinate me, because we dealing with real life issues, you know, besides the one affecting the female reproductive system. So there's a project where we're looking at pain management, specifically for the younger boys, you know.
Pain, as in pain that they go through when they
withdrawal.
Holy shit!
Majority of them, they want to quit.
Yeah, but they're afraid of
the pain. It's too much. And if you look at your Schedule 6 medication, which is like your morphine, that would normally be prescribed to them, it's really addictive. So you can't give it to them, because if you're giving it to them, it's like replacing an addiction with another addiction. So now it's looking at non-addictive systems to deal with pain. You know? And then if you can do that, you can imagine like how many people you can actually like, take off the street. You put them in this treatment where when they are going through their withdrawal symptoms and whatever that they go through, they have something that can assist them with pain management. You know? Yeah, because a lot of these guys who are stuck in this, they're actually brilliant guys who chances. You know, and the other one is we're looking at, because I always say, if you look at dementia or loss of cognitive sense, it never used to be something that was common. Especially with black people. But right now, we have a lot of our people with Alzheimer's or dementia, you know. And I was saying to them that, you know, like in other communities, you would wake up in the morning and then you find an old lady naked in the yard. Yeah? The assumption was, and it's also possible that, like with some of them, she was going to the toilet. On her way back, she forgot, like, where am I supposed to go?
Damn, man, we never think of it in that sense.
So, where am I supposed to go? And then they start walking, they walk outside the yard, and then they start walking. In the morning, we wake up and then we find them here, you know. And so many people have lost their lives because they've been accused of witchcraft. And we never got to explore the science behind it, more like, is it really witchcraft or maybe a person has dementia? So we also still using natural products.
Wow!
Indigenous knowledge, in fact.
This, as much as you moving towards this,
that's system. So we're looking at, because we already know what causes dementia. We already know, like I said, everything is a mark. And then we look at all of these markers. And then we say, from a molecular level, what sort of interventions can we come up with? You know, if something starts being elevated, slightly elevated, then you know that if this thing is not stopped or if it's not controlled, it's going to lead to dementia. You know? And even like right now, you find that somebody in their 30s, in their 40s, they're sitting in an office, and you're always complaining about your boss. Like, this person, they will forget where they put stuff. So we are also starting to notice cases of people in their early stages where they go through dementia. You know, and you can think about it, man. Think of everything that you know now. One day, if you were to forget it. And you're still alive. You know, you look at this mountain, like I don't even remember, like, what is this?
Jesus.
You know, you look at somebody that you love, and then you're like,
I can't remember. Damn, wow.
So, hence I'm saying, I mean, to us, this is what everyday pushes us to. And for now, because I mean, most of our projects, I mean, they're less than 3 years in the making. And for science, the wheel of science turns like very slowly.
It turns, yeah.
Very slowly. But and I always say to them that I don't need to be here for these things
to happen, because tomorrow you might not be here, and then does it mean everything stops?
Then it shouldn't. So it's one of those where I say, like, once purpose has located you, I mean, years from now, if we were to sort of come up with a solution that would assist in terms of like Alzheimer's or dementia, I mean, it's like we all want to be immortal.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, like, we can't. But I mean, our names can be immortal.
Yeah, our names can be immortal.
There are grades that right now we talk of that they're immortal. Like, I mean, I was reading a quote of Solomon Galushi, and somebody had put it there, and I was trying to remember, like, I mean, how many years did this
has he died?
Yeah, when he uttered those words, but his name stayed across full time.
Yeah.
So I mean, millions comes and then they disappear.
They disappear, and you live there also.
And you live there. but if you put a legacy, and if you put something that people can continue running with even in your absence, then that's.
Wow. Yeah, one question I wanted to ask before we go to the closing part, and it's as you, Dr. Tips, you are here, you prefer to be called Vuyisile. But here's a professor of former vice chancellor of UCT, quoting you.
And you don't wait for Dr. Thibane to tell you. Dr. Thibane said you have an opportunity to shape the health system, particularly because of your location. Don't wish you were elsewhere.
You get quoted by a professor.
Yeah.
How does that feel? You were like, damn, she just quoted me.
And I was not expecting it. So what happened was, one of my students, Tepo was hosting it's a graduate guild. He's the president of a graduate guild. So he was hosting Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng to come and sort of kind of motivate the students because of, I mean, we all know everything that she has done.
Yeah.
And also, like, she's a very influential individual. So what they had done, they had put me just before her. So as I was talking, so she walks in. Okay, now I need to help her. And I need to help her, and I can't remember what I was saying, but I remember what the essence of the message was. If you look at the university, where the university is located, it's located in Garankuwa, which is like a township north of Pretoria. And I was saying to the students that you need to work for your community. You need to work for your community. You are here because favor has located you and favor has put you here. So you need to do everything that is within you to make sure that communities around us as a university, they benefit from the work that we are doing. You don't need somebody from Germany, Switzerland, or wherever, somewhere, to come and solve our problems. We need to start solving our own problems as Black people. Because I believe that we have
the capacity.
We have the capacity and the resources to do so, And now it's the time to talk, and she was also making maybe like a similar, something similar to that. And then, Dr. Thibane said.
That comes from.
Yeah, and like I'm sitting there, trying to play cool. But yeah, it's especially it's just when somebody recognizes and appreciates your efforts and the work that you do. And I remember I quickly went and I cut that part. I put it on my socials.
To be quoted by man, that's a professor.
Yeah, I mean she's a professor
and whose stories there and we all know and wow. So in closing, when we close, Dr. T, you are busy with these projects. You wanna change history in the course of this is changing the course of history. You are in the sciences space. It's a space waiting for one would think there are not a lot of young black people who are playing in the field, Mare. When you get to engage, you get to see actually there are people moving in those spaces and things are changing. As a guy who's in academics and as also a father, a family man, your kid will be watching this at some point. Yeah. What is your message towards all of those who will be watching this in terms of all these things that you're trying to achieve?
Well, live a life full of purpose. That will always be my starting point. Live a life that is full of purpose, and always give it your best. When you encounter failure, that should never stop you, but instead, it should motivate you to want to come back and do more, and push more, and always know that it might, in other days, it might seem dark and gloomy, and you might not think that what you are doing is really contributing. Just like my mother used to say, you need to pay it forward. Your good deeds or whatever that you're doing right now, maybe you might not be able to see them, but your children, they might be able to do that, and to see the deeds that you have done. So I mean, for me, it's all about do what makes you happy, and always be happy. Always be happy.
Yes, purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose, guys. I love what you said in terms of, if you don't have something to look forward to when you wake up in the morning, basically you're just surviving. And as much as we are here in the planet, I believe that we are not just here to survive, but we are here to contribute to Mother Earth. This has been a wonderful episode, you guys. Doc,
yes.
Thank you for coming, man.
Next time you'll be saying Prof.
Because also I'll share his link towards the article side if you wanna go read some of his materials in terms of what's happening where is that. So in the description of this EP, we'll share a link towards the projects that he's been working on, the past one, Sikafela, and everything that he are also the his social space, Seemahale, so that you guys who want to understand the health part, it's alone cannot follow on what's happening. But in saying that, I've learned a mouthful in terms of where he's at and what's been happening in the bioscience and tech space, because wow, it was a beautiful conversation. But remember to share, likes, comment and subscribe on this EP because I've learned a lot. He's said a mouthful and other parts are still coming because he's doing wonderful things, and one day we'll feature his students.
Yes,
we'll feature that group, that team, guys, that team. So thanks for watching today's EP board. Vista and Friends coming to you with Fire 2024. Allah. Peace.
Play your role now, follow my lead. What are you waiting for? Follow my lead.